guys, what's up? It's Jessica. Welcome back. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I'm always excited to do my videos, but today I am extra excited because if you guys know my love for ColourPop, it runs real deep. The ColourPop No Filter Concealer was one of my favorite concealers. I'll put that video link right there so you guys can click on that and see my reaction because that concealer was literally everything. If you were anything like me, you were satisfied for the No Filter Concealer, but we were just like, ColourPop, when are you coming out with a foundation? I can only imagine if the concealer is this bomb, what the foundation would be like. So I patiently waited and I hoped, and y'all, they listened. They actually sent this to me. I literally was not expecting them to send me this at all. So thank you so much, ColourPop, for sending me this. But guys, the foundation is here and I'm so excited. This is their foundation collection. Look at the shade ranges. I believe there are 42 shades within this collection. So ColourPop, you did that. They're categorized by skin tone. So we have fair, which is the top. Oh, this is so heavy. The top row is fair. Second row is light. There's medium. Over here is medium dark. And then the bottom is dark, and then it goes to deep dark. And it looks like it runs pretty deep. So I'm glad like this last shade right here it's pretty dark. They also released their No Filter setting powder, which also I was not expecting. Come through, ColourPop. Here is their No Filter setting powder. They have translucent, banana, and medium deep. And then they have fair, light, medium, medium dark, dark, and deep dark as far as their setting powder. So those are like your face powders. And you know what? I might just make this a whole full face using ColourPop makeup because I have a ton of ColourPop makeup. Actually, let's do that. Let's try to stick just to ColourPop products. So ColourPop, oh, I said that right. Let's get into it. If you're excited to see this whole no filter magic that I'm about to do on my face, let's dive into the video. We have dark 175, which is the shade right here. The packaging is really cute. It's like this clear glass with stars on it, and then it has a pump. This one is 165. This might be a little bit too light. So I'm thinking I'm gonna go with 175. Okay, so this is 175 right here. Looks a little warm. Dark 165 right next to it. That's a little too light and too pink. I'm gonna try 170 in this sample size to see what this one would do. So this is 170. This still looks a little, that's too pink. I think I'm gonna go with 175, which is this one right here, because that's the closest one to my skin tone, kind of, sort of. I'm gonna use the F16 brush. They sent me this one and I'm assuming it's a foundation brush. So I'm just gonna put the foundation on the brush. Normally I would use my beauty blender. I might just go in with that too. But let's just, ooh, this is very, very thick. Not thick as in heavy, but like the coverage is full coverage. Ooh, girl, she just covered my moles up and everything. It's really nice. Look at that coverage. I brought you guys in a little closer just because I wanted you guys to see the coverage. So as you can see right here, I have some blemishes. I'm just going to kind of like go over it and see how easily it just covers up my blemishes. And this is a pretty easy foundation to work with too. Like it literally is super smooth. I like this brush so far as well. It's not streaky. It's not applying the foundation like in streaks. It really applies it nicely. So thanks for sending me this brush. That coverage is looking so bomb. Look at how flawless my skin looks. And actually 170, dark 175 was not a bad match at all. All right, y'all, so this is my skin so far. I think it looks really good. I haven't even gone over it with my beauty blender, and this is my staple. It still looks very like flawless. And it doesn't feel heavy. It's lightweight. It doesn't feel like I have a bunch of makeup on my skin. I didn't even put that much on, maybe like 2 pumps. I probably could have done less if I used my beauty blender, but I mean the coverage, that's what we're here for. The blendability of it all, is that a word, blendability? It's gonna be a word today. I feel like it blends in with my skin tone pretty well. Like the undertone isn't too red. I'm not sure if this oxidizes or not. If so, that might be a problem. But if it doesn't, this is good. Like, I'm good with this. Okay, no filter. We don't even need a filter, girl. All right, let's complete the rest. So, of course, I'm going to use my no filter concealer. They came out with more shades. They actually either expanded their shade range or they changed up their shades. So, like, the previous launch, the shade numbers are different. Something like that. I'm kind of confusing myself. But I did purchase some of the newer shades that they came out with. I'm going to highlight with Medium Dark 36. Looks a little light though. I might have to go over it with a deeper shade because I'm kind of getting out of that whole extreme bright concealer look. It's just not my thing anymore. Like, that looks really light. Oh Lord. I don't know if you guys can see, but like, I see some weird things happening with my makeup. It was like these little balls of makeup. Like it was like, I don't know how to describe it, like crumbling. I don't know. So I would say you may have to be cautious about what primer you use. I should have just used my Fenty primer like I normally use, but instead I used the CoverGirl. So yeah, just be a little careful when you are using your primer with this foundation. Maybe something a little bit more cream based. I don't know. So I have to play around with my primers. The foundation itself, I like it. But the primer, I have to be mindful about what primers I choose with this foundation, which is why it would be good for them to come out with their own primer formulated for this specific foundation, because it will work in conjunction with the foundation. Like, it would be a perfect match. But I see it kind of going away now, but it was scaring me at first. So next I'm going to go in and contour with Rich 75. This is from the first launch, so I'm not sure what this shade is now. But I'm going to contour with this. And a little bit of this no filter concealer goes a long way. Like, it literally does. You don't need a lot of this at all. And I love the way the concealer blends out. It blends out so well. And what I like about it, it looks very natural. Like, it doesn't look like I have a cake face going on. It feels very natural. I will say, I feel like the coverage of the concealer is a little bit more full coverage than the foundation, which is always a plus for me because I prefer my foundations not to be extremely full coverage. Like, you can definitely build upon the no filter foundation, but in terms of comparing it to the no filter concealer, I feel like it's a little bit more of a lighter coverage as opposed to the concealer. That's just my opinion. I'm gonna go into the no filter banana setting powder. Let's go in. I want to see if this will compare to my like Sacha Buttercup. Like, is it better? Will it live up to Sacha? Because right now, nothing compares to Sacha. I use her every time I set my face. And I'm gonna use my Beauty Blender to put it on. Off tops, it's very finely milled. Like, it is super fine. That's actually really nice, y'all. It's not chalky. I find like a lot of more of the drugstore setting powders come off chalky on my skin tone. But this one, just, it like melts into your skin like butter. Now I'm going to set with the medium deep powder. Now when I'm generally doing my makeup, I always set with like my Sacha Buttercup, and I do that on my highlighted areas. And then I go in with my Laura Mercier translucent setting powder in deep dark or medium deep. And I do that like on the outer perimeter of my face. So I'm going to do the same thing with this one. And I want to see if it's going to live up to my Laura Mercier, because right now that one is winning for me. So I don't put a lot of this on. I just like to set the contours of my face. It actually really reminds me of my Laura Mercier just by putting it on. And again, very, very finely milled, very nice. It goes on smooth. Ooh, this is literally melting into my skin like butter. What the heck did they do? Like, how did that, like, how? Okay guys, so this is my skin so far, and look at it. It's like literally flawless. I mean, I have gone into these sunken places of setting powders. I don't think I'm going to be brought back. I think I'm gonna stay here. It's literally like I just keep staring at my skin because it looks so good. These are gonna be my jam. I might have to start using these and replace them with my Sacha Buttercup. Sacha might have to go on a vacation back to to the islands, Caribbean, she's gonna have to go back. Lord Mercier, I don't know where you're from, but you're gonna have to go back there too because ColourPop came for your throat, okay? Okay, so I'm going to further set my face. Now, when I normally do my makeup, I set my face again with like a pressed powder. They did come out with their setting powders, so I am going to go ahead and do what I normally do with my makeup and use a setting powder. So this one is the No Filter Pressed Powder. I'm going to use medium dark, which is this shade right here. And I'm going to use that in the areas where I highlight it. So I just take my brush and I just simply just press in there. And what I'm finding with these products so far is that they're very like finely milled, smooth, not chalky or anything like that. It literally melts into your skin. The next shade I'm going to go into is Deep Dark, and I'm going to use Deep Dark as a contour. Let's see how deep this actually is, if it'll show up on my skin tone. Now, this is not a actual contour, it's to set your face. So if you are deeper than me and you want it to contour with this, it may not show. This will be a great like setting powder, a face powder for you, but not like a contour. But it's very subtle. I'm gonna go in with their bronzer. I don't see the name of this. It just says highlighter and then it says bronzer. So I don't know how it's a highlighter and a bronzer. I'm confused. But yeah, I'm gonna go in with this one and see how dark this one is. This one might give me a little bit more warmth to my skin, which is kind of what I want. Just a little. I don't need a lot of this. I don't want too much product on my skin. Okay, so to blend everything together, I'm going to go in with the dark pressed powder, taking my puff. This is what I like to do, and then I just like press it into my skin. Normally I would use my Sephora Micro Smooth powder. That's like my jam, but today we're going to test this one out. I'm going to use this blush by ColourPop. It doesn't have a name. It just says Pressed Powder Cheek Blush. It looks like a really pretty like corally color. So this might look cute with this look. So I'm going to use my Luster Dust highlighter. And I'm going to use the shade Dewdrop, which is my favorite. Like, this is my go-to, right? My brows are done. I did them off camera. We're going to move on into the eye look. So I'm going to go into this ColourPop Element of Surprise palette, which, first of all, the packaging is super cute. First, for my transition color, I think I'm going to go into this, like, terracotta shade. Then I'm going to move into this pink shade. It's called Subdue. And I'm going to put that all over my lid. So on top of that, I'm going to go in with my Super Shock Shadow in Slave to Pink. I'm going to see how this applies with the brush. If not, then I'll just use my fingers. So for my bottom lash line, I'm going to go back into Subdue. And I'm just going to apply that right to the bottom. I'm just going to take a black liner and line my waterline. I'm going to go in with this one right here. This is in the shade, this is in Silk Street. So I'm going to go in with that one and see what that does for my inner corner. Actually, let me wet my brush. Alright, so lashes are applied. I just used the Ardell Wispy Lash. I'm just going to apply some mascara to my bottom and top lashes. I'm going to be using the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. Alright, so I'm going to move on to lips. I'm going to use the Luxe Lippies in Humble Pie, which is this gorgeous like pinky shade. Hopefully this is not pink overload. I have some ColourPop glosses, but they're not the color that I want to use, so I'm going to go into this one. This is the Fenty Galaxy Gloss in Platonic Relationship, and I'm just going to apply that to my lips. Alright y'all, so this is the completed look. This is basically a full face using ColourPop makeup, so let me just tell you my thoughts on the foundation and the powders. Okay, so let's start off with the foundation. I really like the way it feels on the skin. It feels very lightweight. It doesn't feel heavy at all. You really don't feel like you have makeup on your face. It's very weightless, which I think is a plus. They claim that this is a full coverage foundation. I feel like it's a medium to full coverage. Like initially when you put it on, it does give you a lot of coverage, but I personally feel like it's medium to full coverage. Like you can build upon full. It's not initially full coverage. It does feel very good on the skin. It's also a soft matte formula, and I am seeing that. It's not a drying matte, It does give you like some flexibility with your face, like it doesn't feel dry. It claims that it's oil free, and I want to say I can attest to that. I think if I were to be out in the sun, however, I feel like I would get shiny and oily with this. I'm just keeping it 100. Just right now, I've had it on for about 3 hours, and I still look good, don't get me wrong, but I can see like a few oils peeping through, which gives it a more natural look. But I feel like as far as like going throughout the day, I would get a lot more oily and I would need to touch up. So yeah, that's that. Overall, we'll give the foundation a 9 out of 10. I think this is a really good everyday foundation if you are looking for something that gives you good coverage, lightweight, soft matte, a natural look. This is your go-to foundation. I think the shade ranges are decent. They're a really good, decent shade range, especially for ColourPop to come out with their first foundation. 42 shades, I believe it's 42. That's a good enough range, I think so, especially for the price point, which I think the price is $12. So it's a $12 foundation. You can't go wrong with that. Now these loose setting powders, you guys, these are bomb. These, out of everything, these were my favorite to try out, and these were my favorite to use. I love these. Thinking that these might replace my go-to powders like my Sacha Buttercup or my Allure Msjgray. I just feel like these live up to that. That's how bomb these are. They melt into your skin like butter. They don't leave a cast on your face. They don't feel too drying. Sometimes setting powders can be a little drying on your skin. These, however, girl, no. These melted right into my skin and set my makeup beautifully. So I definitely love these. I don't know if this is the actual size of them or if this is just the PR sample size, but I could travel with these, so I'm here for this. I really, 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 really recommend these. I give these a 10 out of 10 for real. The pressed powders were just as good as the loose powders. I really enjoyed using these. Again, the formula of these are super smooth on the skin. I feel like they don't pick up texture, which is a plus, especially when you're setting your foundation. Nothing is worse than having like a beat face and then you add powder to it and then it just picks up texture and it messes up your home makeup. Like why? These, however, just glide right over any imperfections. It doesn't pick up texture. I feel like it just smooths out your texture on your skin. The shades were pretty decent as well. I just want them to come out with something a little bit darker, just a little bit darker, so that I could contour with. Those are my thoughts for the No Filter foundation, No Filter pressed powder, and No Filter loose setting powder. This is definitely something, y'all, that you should have in your makeup collection, especially the price points. Like, the price points are so reasonable, like you can't go wrong with it. But one thing about ColourPop, they don't only give you good prices, they give you good quality. So how they manage to do both is beyond me, but I'm here for it. All right, y'all, that is all. Let me know down below if you guys have tried the No Filter collection. Do you have the concealer, foundation? Have you tried the setting powders? Anything of ColourPop? Let me know what your favorite ColourPop product is. If you enjoyed this video, let me know down below in the comments section. Give this video a thumbs up, share it with a friend, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!